I'll just smile nicely.
Thanks, baby.
There we go. Perfect. Oh, you have one of
And
those
here
big
we are.
water. You have one of those big water
Live
jugs,
on
Lurley?
Sunday. That's determination. That's determination.
I
I've
saw that
increased
big
my
one.
water intake.
It's bigger
Yeah,
than
I've increased my water intake massively. And I gotta give kudos to my accountability coach, Christopher Rausch,
Yeah.
and my accountability partner, Barbara. I can't remember her last name, but she calls me Queen, and I love that.
There you
I just love that. I hate being called princess. So that was made very clear in the beginning that no one was allowed to call me princess. But Queen, oh, I love Queen. Queen is just epic. It's like the band. Who doesn't want to be associated with Queen?
I hear you.
So, how are you ladies?
I'm
great.
magical.
Smile.
Lurley?
I'm amazing. I'm here with you guys.
There we go. Magical and amazing. And then I get a hi queen from Facebook. I love it. You know, the last time that we got together, we were doing unfinished business and it did not go live. And all I could do was laugh and say, you know what? Oh, well, let's try again another time and we'll do finishing unfinished business. And in all the weeks of what's been, so much has happened in all of our lives. And when we look at unfinished business, we can look at the business of career, we can look at the business of relationships. There's so many different ways that all of that is encompassed in the same thing. So when we're finishing unfinished business, how often do you think of the karmic connection to it? Laura Lee.
Mm. Wow, my brain can go many ways with that one. The karmic connection to unfinished business. Yeah, I mean, that's. I'm sorry, that's deep. That's like just something I've just not really thought
Way to,
about.
way to lead off with something that just makes you go, what the? Oh my God.
Yeah,
Right? I was thinking about it this morning and it kept on flashing to me and it made me think of your amazing son and the relationship that you have with him and the way that he came into your life. It wasn't this magical, perfect Disney beginning.
no,
Your knight in shining armor was not Prince Charming. Well, he was more like Prince Alarming. Do you think that that
you're
had anything to do with a past life? Um, maybe?
absolutely. That's 100% karmic relationship. Obviously, birthed a non-karmic relationship between me and my son, but um, and I don't think there's any unfinished business between me and him either. That business is 100% finished, severed, all the loose ends tied up and gone. That's
Isn't that a great feeling? That's such a good feeling when it's all tied up with a bow and then like burnt. Like
yeah,
cords are cut, the
yeah,
ceremony is done where you're burning that and you're like, see you later.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's just nothing there, and it's amazing. So,
It
but
really is. It really is.
yeah,
And then there's the beautiful karmic relationships that we have in our life with the people that come in and make us shine. It's incredible. And then the passions that we have. We
mhm,
have so many passions. I look at Daphne and her crystals, and I'm enamored with her ability to know them left, right, and center. My ability to know crystals is the black ones and the red ones are root. And then
mhm.
I work my way up that way with the colors. But Daphne knows them so much more than I do. When was it that you first began playing with crystals, Daph?
Well, when I actually first began playing with crystals was after I'd come back from a near fatal car accident and I was in pain. And I started carrying magnets in my pockets because I don't even remember why I started doing it, but I just started carrying them in my pockets, one in each pocket, and I felt better. So then, of course, I got curious and I was like, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. I need to know more. So I found the Healing with Crystals therapy diploma and opened up that can of worms. And ever since, things have grown exponentially since then. But, thank you for that compliment. But when it comes to essential oils, that's your forte, right? Or when it comes to photography, that's Laura Lee's forte. And I love how each of us has our things and each of us comes to each other for support always.
Yeah. So true, because when it comes to being an expert at photography, the closest that I get is when somebody, while I'm on vacation, says, "Excuse me, can you take our photo?" And then I'm like, "Hey, Ralph, can you take their photo? Because I don't have my glasses on and I can't really see." So I accept the fact that it's not my specialty, and I'm like passing the gauntlet to somebody else. And that's okay. It took me a long time to get there, though. I felt like if I couldn't do something well, I was failing. And then I realized that if I try to do everything well, I am failing because it's not possible.
And that's
It's
where I
just not
can
possible.
That's where I can compliment Laura Lee on her L Collective and her social media platform that she has that I use for Daphne's Healing Hands. It saves me so much time and I love it. I think everybody should use it that has a business online. No, I'm just saying because it allows me the time to do what I love to do and spend time with people and not be online.
Oh my God, I agree so much because if you try to do your scheduling on a scheduler that isn't attached to a real human being,
Mhm.
try and call that help center. See
Yeah.
when Facebook calls you back. They're not going to.
Mhm.
They're just not. You don't get that one-on-one companionship. And I get that with Laura Lee too. There are times when you will get a hold of me, Laura Lee, and you're like, you know that you've got that same post repeating every single day, huh? I'm like, oh, I do now. And then I can fix it, right? Like that's where I love when somebody is kind enough to tell me an area of my life that I can improve on. And there's
Mhm.
always something. So when it comes to unfinished business and we have angels that have crossed over to the other side, I know, Laura Lee, that you've got angels on the other side, and so do you, Daphne.
Mhm.
Do you find that they try to speak through you, or that you have other angels that try to speak through you so that you can communicate to that
Mhm.
other person?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have. I've had when I when my gifts weren't as good as they are right now or as developed. When I lived in my basement suite in Edmonton, I was having a shower one day and I was like, "Whoa, my entire family's outside my shower right now," and they were trying to get a hold of me. And again, like I wasn't as developed then. I just had this like I don't even fully remember what happened, but I knew that like my mom, my grandma, my grandpa, my everyone on my mom's side was there because they were trying to get a hold of my auntie Jerry Lynn, and she has gifts, but she was in such a bad place at that time. And I reached out to her and I said, "They're trying to contact you. Um, can you just pay attention?" I don't know how she received that at that point. She hasn't said anything ever to me about it, but I very vividly remember that. But now I always have things come up for me where I'm, you know, oh, you the other morning you were talking about this on the live that I actually caught, and I think you
Yeah,
said
the
that
one
they,
that you actually caught.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's funny because we have our certain spaces and places where they will connect to us. For me, it's the coffee maker and the shower. Man, I haven't showered alone for a long time. They're always in there. They're like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I don't even have a pen or a paper or anything, right? Like, can you give me a second?" But I get out of the shower and I still remember. It's beautiful. And the coffee maker, that's where when people recently pass away, That's where I get it. It's always at the coffee maker. So cool. So
I get a
cool.
lot of
And now that I'm comfortable, the more that you get comfortable, the more that they play.
Yeah. Mine come a lot when I'm driving too, or when I look license plates, numbers and license plates, and messages and license plates. It's really interesting. It's really very interesting. Like when we left the store today. So funny story, you're talking about crystals. I went to Michael's. Doug and I went to Michael's today because I thought we're in the area. We'll see if there's any sales. And sure enough, we go into Michael's and the pendants are 50% off. And then he went around the corner to the beads. I said, "So is there any sales?" He's like, "Yeah, everything is 60% off." I went, "Oh shit." So I go around the corner and I ended up spending $160 even. It was $160 even, and I saved 196 and some change. So I saved more than I spent.
Wow.
Winning.
That's an incredible win.
That's kind of like
And
messages. You need to do this.
oh, for sure. And that's where the passions come in again. And when you follow your passions, you are so filled with energy to pursue and continue. And it's not, it's easy. It's just easy. Today I was feeling less than sensational, and I still was able to sit with my mat and my laser, my portal. I was running my mat and my portal all day and studying astrology, because astrology is something that I'm very interested in. It's not something that I plan on continuing further for anyone but me and maybe my family, but you never know. But it's interesting because I've met the most wonderful people through astrology. It's super cool. And astrology shows me how truly planned life is.
Even though we think it's not planned, it really actually is all planned before we get here.
The main parts, yes. The people that you're going to meet who are pivotal in your life, those that are going to change your life. Some are going to be champions and some are going to be chumps.
Mm-hmm.
I've had my share of both.
Oh, me too.
Me too.
Yeah, lots of chumps, but that's okay. I can honestly send them love and light in the most wonderful way. And I know that part of what's going on with my chest and my body releasing, getting rid of things was the time that I spent in the courtroom when I was in Kelowna. It was a big challenge for me sitting on the other side of the courtroom. It was like being at a wedding. You know, when you've got one side, you're on the bride's side, and the groom is on the other side. And the groom's family used to be your family, but now the groom's family don't like you because you're on the bride's side. And here I am, like I could just sense all of it. And even though I brought my portal into the courtroom with me, it's still, oh my gosh, it was so heavy on my heart. And I mean, supporting my niece was the most blessed experience. I will always do that. I will support her for the rest of her life. She's my gift. But it's hard when someone's got a hate on for you.
Haters are going to hate.
Yep. Yep. There's a song or two about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when I let go of my desire to connect with someone that's in my book, I asked my son Chance, I'm like, so do you know anything about Brenda? And he's like, mother. And I'm like, just wondering. I kind of wanted to connect with her while I was in Kelowna. And he's like, all I know is that she got remarried. And I'm like,
Huh?
oh, well, that's good. I'm happy for her. And then I felt a lightness because I'd let go of something that was really tying me down. And then something wonderful happened afterward. You know, when we let go of the things that don't serve us, great things happen. Just fabulous.
Like when you moved, Laura Lee, from Edmonton to BC.
Best thing I ever did for me and Linda. obsession. I remember so clearly when I was telling people I was coming back out here, and everyone was like, "Don't do it. It's so expensive. You're not going to be able to make it as a single mother out there." Meanwhile, I was literally dying
Yeah.
in Edmonton,
Yeah.
and here I haven't had it easy the entire time, but I have definitely thrived and moved forward exponentially since coming here. And I would not be who I am and what I'm doing right now if I wouldn't have come out here. 100% of that.
You wrote a book too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Yeah, and that's right. That's right. Yeah. There's a lot of people who spread their wings and fly to BC, and it is a challenge. I mean, it does stand for bring cash, but staying in Dedmonton will suck the life out of you if you're not happy. And there's that and component. That's one thing that I've really been focusing on is I can live in Edmonton and create a life in British Columbia
And
spend time in Mexico.
And
So when I was in BC, Daph was helping me with my mom. And so was Melissa. I was so blessed. And then when I came back, her chair got stuck in the upright position, like the footrest was stuck on, outward. So I had to get her a chair really fast because it wasn't safe. And it was like bada bing, bada bang. I had it there within 48 hours. Once you fill your cup and you feel good, you then have the ability to do so much more.
True story.
Much more. And now we've got a wonderful business idea for Kelowna. I'm over the moon excited. And it was because of a conversation that I had with Kelly Whedon.
Beautiful.
Wow. Now I'm connected to an insurance agent that's going to help me with my business insurance because I'm now launching products as well as services. So I need to change my insurance. So many things. And it's great. It's absolutely great that we have the ability to connect with people to help us. Who's helped you this week, Daph?
Who's helped me this week? There's been so many people that have helped me this week. I mean, funny story. I thought, it's who's helped me this week. I mean, my husband, my son, they've both helped with getting tasks done around the house when I've been busy doing other things. You've helped me do a workshop yesterday. I mean, you ran the workshop. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, I pulled that one out of my ambition for sure.
Yes, you did. But you know what? It was perfect. It was exactly what needed to happen for the people involved. And then I came home and I sent the follow-up email with the information they were requesting tonight. We work together. Together we are stronger. Oh, who's saying hola? That's awesome. Hello.
I don't know. It just says Facebook user, because if you don't grant permission, you don't get. Yeah, it's just the way that Facebook is. Well, but I love Mexico, and I'm excited to be planning so much more.
Yeah, I can tell you that it went live on your page and it went live on the Exponential page. So, and then I shared it to my page too on Facebook. So,
going all over the place. I love it.
Who helped you this week, Nancy?
Oh, like I said before, my accountability partner, that made a huge difference in my life. I am striving in wonderful ways. Ralph has been such a good nurse to me. He still won't wear that nurse's outfit that I bought him, but he's gonna just cringe if he listens to this. But my dear friend Stephen, who just commented because he helped with the photography. My gosh, the list is so long. Daphne, you helped me with boosting up the laser love by sending me distance sessions. It's been a blessing, and I love how the gratitude, step 1, setting intentions, step 2, and then staying true to my goals. And this week it's been health, it's been water, it's been walking. I was hopeful that this week would begin with yoga, but we'll see how that works. I'm just amping up and adding, amping up and adding. And then I'm on another show, the Mental Health Warriors, Recover Your Joy. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. There's just so much good in my life. And you, Laura Lee, your turn.
Daphne, obviously, sending me her amazing updates every day. And I'm just so grateful. The other day I was actually having not like the greatest day, and then I'm gonna get this beautiful message or finally see the message, whatever it was, whether she had messaged me and I didn't see it or it popped up. I saw it when I needed to.
Mhm.
And yeah. And I was just like, I just feel I was overcome with like this incredible gratitude because I have this awesome team working in the background. And so definitely Daphne, thank you.
Thank you.
And I've been really, really putting in effort to do things for myself every morning. So when I drop my son off, I do my best to not come home and start working or whatever. I try to go to the ocean or I try to go to, because I live right by the ocean and that makes me happy. So I try to go down and walk along the ocean, or me and my friend Marissa, we meet up several times a week actually in the mornings, and we take her dog, which I call my dog Bestie, Brooke, and we go for a walk, whether that's at the beach or a dog park. So um, being with Larissa and starting my days with her, she's one of us, you know. Um, and that just like really, it's so helpful to like set up my mental health, I guess, and my space for the week. So I really appreciate that. So yeah. So that would be right now.
Yeah, it's
Go
the
ahead.
special people that bring the special to our life in whatever way it is. And I know I've got lots of different special people in my life. I've got those that bring me love and light, those that keep me grounded and balanced and not pushing myself too far, because one of my abilities, which is to stay focused and determined, can be my downfall too, because there needs to be an off switch. And like you, Laura Lee, I've started spending time with myself in the morning so that I do that thing that matters most. And then I eat that frog, because procrastination was a big problem in my life for a long time, but it's not anymore. I do that one thing that's difficult. I get it over and done with. And then I'm like, well, that was easy.
That's the worst. And something off for so long, and it's like the easiest thing in the world. And then such a load is lifted off your shoulders, and it's like I delayed this for 6 months. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was a little.
It's so silly. It's so silly. And then allowing the people that you love to make some of the choices to lead, to lead. Not that they're making the choices without you, but they're leading. When we are planning our vacations, Ralph does the lion's share of the bookings for the airlines, as well as the accommodations. And we were looking at staying in Sayulita. And then the next day, today, he suggested that we stay in Puerto Vallarta for 2 weeks. And in the second week, we go somewhere different. And then we can still go to Sayulita for the day. We can go to Bucereras for the day. We can go on day trips, but stay in Puerto Vallarta. There's so much beauty there. And I'm like, yeah, I like that idea. And that was it. Again, easy. Allowing someone else to care about you. Wow. Wow.
It's a thing.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
a
thing.
thing, right? Because we get into this trauma response where we don't trust because of what's been in our lives before. And the trauma response is real. It's as real as Timbits in Canada, because once you get that taste, you just can't get rid of it. Like I just said Timbit, and it's like Oh my God, I love the chocolate ones. They're the best, right? Like I love Timbits because you can eat one and you don't feel bad. And then you can eat six and you're still like, well, at least I didn't have a donut. But when it comes to trauma, if you don't do something to remove the sting, it'll stay with you. And then it can get infected and festered and all of those awful things. So, what can you do to move away from that which causes you harm? There's a lot of options there.
Yeah.
You can choose things that make you happy.
Mhm.
Yeah. My beautiful friend Dawn called me the other day, and this just goes to allowing people to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having a day. I was having a week, to be honest. I've been having stressful times, and she called me that me and my son had just gone to the store to get groceries, and she's like, well, what do you want for dinner? And I was like, what? And she was like, I'm going to order you DoorDash. What do you want for dinner? And I started bawling. I was like, no, it's okay. You don't have to. And there was like this internal war of like, just let her do this. And I don't need it. And just let her do it. And I don't need it. So it was a big thing. And then I was finally like, okay, yeah, it's fine. Well, Lyndon, what do you want for dinner? And I surrendered and I let her, she wanted to. And then I just cried and I cried and I cried over something so simple. And then I ate my dinner and I passed out and had a nap. I was so emotionally but it's not easy to let people in and take care of you, especially when you're someone that's, I think a lot of us these days struggle with that regardless, because of all the trauma in the past that we all go through. But when you're just used to doing everything on your own and you've been doing it on your own for so long,
Mm-hmm.
it's really foreign to think about or allow people. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's so true. I know when you talk about that, it reminds me of working with relationship coaching and helping people have a different thought than all of the people that they've had in their life that didn't support them and love them, and the possibility of finding Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Right, Mr. I'm gonna love having popcorn with you at the movies. I'm so looking forward to finding a friend.
Yeah.
Because we can find a friend. We don't have to find a forever. It's okay to find a friend and then see where the relationship goes. But if we focus on all of the terrible, then we're going to get more terrible. So,
Amen.
what do you want? What do you want? I love coaching people to move forward in the direction of their dreams, whatever that dream is. Whatever that dream is, it is possible. There is no dream that's not possible. I've had 100% success with everyone that I've worked with because they've all attained their goals. I love it.
We're watching the Grey Cup today because Grey Cup is on right now. And it was a Green Day, was on the halftime show. And Doug said, I
Yeah.
remember when they played at the Bronx here in Edmonton, and I paid $3 to go see them play at the Bronx. I said, what does that show you, honey? Shows you that anybody can achieve anything that they desire.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well,
It's so true.
I think I've heard I'm sure we all have heard this, and I don't know how it goes fully. But if it wasn't possible, you wouldn't have thought it.
Right.
So
And
anything,
the word impossible is actually I'm possible.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah, with a
Impossible is
space, with a
I'm
gap,
possible.
with an apostrophe.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Everything is attainable.
yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
So what do you? Oh, Nancy's coughing, so she's covering her. Good job.
And muting, it sounds awful. It just sounds terrible. So I didn't want anybody to get all worried. It's fine. But that's it too. We can get into that I wonder or I worry.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather wonder. When I worry, though, I acknowledge what it is that's coming up, the business that's unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about, I wonder where that thought came from. And I listen, I journal, and then I'm like, okay, I remember. So how can I create wonderful from now?
Mm-hmm. Moving
That's
forward.
where all the power is. Yeah.
I went through.
Moving forward.
I was overcome with some emotions. I was just driving, and I asked Spirit. I said, take this away. I just don't want to. I don't know where this is coming from or why it's here. I thought it was someone else. And then I felt like, okay. And I just listened. And I was like, there's something left here that I need to feel
Mm-hmm.
and acknowledge because that particular moment, it was mine. And I was like, okay. So I acknowledged it. I felt what I was feeling. I understood where it was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And um, and I just left it there. It was not a very long process. And the next day, I felt so good and light. I felt a lot of lightness, and my heart was lighter.
Beautiful.
And the feeling of that particular trauma I was experiencing in that moment, had been, I guess, alchemized a bit, and it felt really good. So, but at first I was like, just take this away, Spirit. Like, I don't want this. And then it was very abundantly clear that it was mine, and I needed to deal with it. So, yeah,
So true. It's so true. Those patterns of behavior offer us the potential to change.
yeah, absolutely.
And the
There's the
choice is ours.
potential. Yeah, it's possible. You know what? When you say that things, there's another phrase that it's like when they talk about the weather and they're forecasting, and they're like, there's a possibility of showers, and there's a possibility. And, there's also a possibility of sunshine. There's a possibility of amazing in my life. And when I say things like, I'm looking forward to meeting the most wonderful people today who are going to guide me into greater things,
Mm-hmm.
then the adventure begins. Life is an adventure. I think so.
I was just thinking the same thing. Doug and I went out to go find some things that he needed to order or needed to pick up for the barbecue. And then he saw the price of them and he was like, oh. So we went to another store and they were more expensive at the other store. Then we decided we were going to go somewhere else. And then we were on an adventure going all these different places. And that's when I ended up at Michael's. So it was an adventurous day. But, it was good.
And that's where, what, the price of things is definitely a challenge for many of us. I can't say that I know anybody that isn't challenged by the continuing increase. It's a fact, and we cannot change what the price is, but we can decide how we're going to spend our money, what we are going to do to bring additional income in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? When you tighten that string on the purse, you get a little bit more conscious as to how you're spending. And I've started spending more cash. That's made a big difference in my life. Cash. I pull out $1,000 at the beginning of the month, and that's my money to spend.
Mm-hmm.
The end. No more. and it works. I've often got money left over.
That's awesome.
That's how I do it. It's a beautiful thing when you hand somebody a bill. And I love watching it now because less cashiers are used to that. And they're just like, they're trying to counting out the change. And I just smile because when I worked in retail, there was nothing else. I don't even remember there being, my first retail was Dairy Queen. And I don't remember there being any other option other than cash. I just don't. And here we are now in this digital world where, wow.
You barely see cash.
I think it's fun to spend cash.
I like
I feel a safety when I've got money in my wallet. I just feel safer. That's for me. And my mom was the one that taught me that practice. My mom would pull out so much money and put it in. She had different envelopes for different things. And that's how she budgeted so responsibly and so bravely. So I'm like, used to bug me when I was a kid. I was embarrassed. But now I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Smart.
What did your parents teach you, Daphne? What did your parents teach you about that has helped you in business?
Oh, wow. Loaded question that, that's a big question too. They taught me that I needed to be diligent, be honest, and work with integrity, and always do the job right the first time so I didn't have to go back and do it right the second time to fix something later. They taught me that if I worked hard, I would do well. They also instilled in me that I could do anything that I wanted to do. If I had a dream, to just do it. They always made me feel like I could do whatever I chose, which is what I did with my son as he grew up too. I told him that, he wanted to try something. Sure, let's go. So, I mean, you only fail if you
When
stop
you fall
trying.
off when you fall off the horse, get back on it again.
Yeah, always. And I remember one time I was practicing barrel racing at our house, and I lost a stirrup as I was going around the first barrel, and I was going to come around the second barrel, and then I just I slid off the horse ever so slightly, and the horse ran back to the yard. I was so mad that I fell off my horse. My parents just laughed at me because they thought it was funny, but I was so mad. But yeah, always had to get back on. So yeah, I guess that would be the lesson. If you fall off the horse, get back on. But yeah, I mean, you only fail if you quit trying. That was another really strong one they taught me. Is the only way to fail is stop trying.
Yeah. And you, Laura Lee?
Well, I grew up in family-owned businesses. I don't think we ever once my entire life didn't have a business attached to us in some way, shape, or form. And I actually remember when I started my journey, my dad wasn't very happy. And he said, "No, get a job." And I said, "You taught me this. I am this because of you. You never had a job." And I understand, like, he was scared. I mean, this world is different than when he was buying motels and restaurants. Like, you can't do what he was doing while I was growing up these days, right? But, well, you can, but not the same way. And yeah, so I understand where he's coming from, but that's just ingrained in me, and that's why I am the way I am, because this is how I grew up. We were always attached to a business. Hi, Elizabeth.
But yeah, and that's what it is. Entrepreneurs work hard, but you know what? We do what we love, so we don't feel like we work a day in our lives. I mean, people tease me that I don't stop, that I'm always doing something, but I'm always doing something that I love. So why would I stop?
It's funny because I'm in the dating world. People ask me, when you're dating people or you're talking to people and getting to know them, they're always, what do you do for work? And so I laugh. I always just laugh and I'm like, all right, you ready? Here it is. And they're like, you don't have any time. It's like, yeah, it sounds like a lot, but like there's days that I don't do much. And then there's days that I work from the second I open my eyes until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But then I might not do anything for a couple days. So, you know, it's I get to set the tone for myself each day. I get to move forward how I want to move forward each day. And yeah, I do a ton of different things, but I don't do it all in one day. The only thing that I do every single day is mom. That's it. I mother. Everything else comes and goes, and I figure it out and move through everything. So,
Mm-hmm. How about you, Nancy?
Yeah, my dad taught me that he was my first gratitude teacher, because my dad will say, how are you? Right? I would ask my dad, he's like, I woke up on the right side of the dirt. So he taught me to be grateful for each and every day that I was alive.
Yeah.
It's such a simple statement, but it's so very, very, very true. It just changes the way that you look at things.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom taught me to be resilient.
Mm-hmm.
My mom taught me to be faithful. My mom taught me to be able to believe that I could do anything. She did teach me to play it safe. So there goes the a career in accounting and administration. But those are skills that I can now use in the most wonderful ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're totally convertible to everything that I'm doing. And I'm super duper grateful. When you are able to take the skills that you have and apply them to different areas of your life, you see where you can succeed more and more and more. My mom was a terrible cook. Like, she would take the pork chops and fry them until they were like jerky. And then she would take the mushroom soup and put them in the mushroom soup and then put them in the oven for another hour until all the mushroom soup got absorbed into the pork chop, right? So I learned how to cook when I was like 13, because I'm like, I am not eating that food anymore. So the things that were not my happy in my life, I simply chose something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting when you have that experience. And because my mom was a single parent, she taught me that there was so much that one person can do to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So much. Yeah. So much. It's interesting. It's really, really interesting. We've been using that word a lot. It's interesting. That's a good word for lots of things, whether that's a good interesting or a, oh my God, you've got to be kidding interesting. And when you sit with a thought or sit with an opportunity, it becomes more clear. Does this resonate with me, or does this not resonate with me? I've got an opportunity to engage more in a networking group, and I've been pulling cards since last Tuesday. And one of the cards that I keep on getting over and over and over is the shadow card. And I'm like, so does that mean it's not a good thing? Or is it a part of me that is a little bit uncertain? And then I get an opportunity to speak on a podcast about social anxiety. And I'm like, oh God, am I anxious? Like, am I socially anxious? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, oh my God, you are too. And I'm like, oh, so I could expand and grow? Yeah. But what if they don't like me?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I know. Right? I know. And then I found out that I might have to wear a skirt every time that I'm at an event. And I thought, okay, there's boundaries. That rule is going to change, because I don't do skirts. I don't have many. And if you want to buy me a wardrobe, then fine. But otherwise, I'm a pants girl. And I don't appreciate the fact that you are going to, right? Like, I mean, I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure that will be acceptable. I'm sure that we can come to a compromise, right? And maybe I can buy a dress. Fine. Like it's so interesting the way that the mind just, it's like a Pac-Man. You ever notice that? It's fun. It's super, super fun. Yeah. What challenges have you come across in this last week, Daphne, that have made you go, I don't know?
Oh my goodness. Elizabeth, yes, they do. There's so many things. What challenges have I come across this week? Actually, this week I had plans, I had appointments booked to go do other things, and one of my coworkers was ill and she couldn't be at work. So I needed to rearrange my schedule, and when I found out about that, I thought, oh God, are the people that I'm going to need to rearrange my schedule with going to be upset because I can't come to the appointment that I booked with them? But you know what? As soon as I contacted them and asked to reschedule, and I explained the situation, everybody was just really accommodating because, I mean, come on, we're all human. Life happens. And we work together to make things stronger. So, I mean, I guess that would have been my biggest challenge this week. And one of your challenges this week was coming to the workshop yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I was up at like 3 o'clock in the morning before the workshop. And I mean, oh my God, my head was aching. My chest was aching. I went and got my laser, and then I was trying to fumble with it in the dark, and I was struggling, but I didn't want to turn the light on because I was afraid the light was going to hurt my head. So I finally figured it out, right? And I got to a little bit better, and a little bit better, and a little bit better. I'm like, okay, I can get in the shower.
How about you, Lorelei?
I had a really busy week, and so I guess managing my energy was a massive challenge that I had this week because I was bringing on new clients for the social media business. I was, and I did a big photo shoot where I did 4 makeups, and I started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I shot some photography. I wasn't the photographer, but I was allowed to also take photos, and so we wrapped it like close to midnight.
Wow.
So I started at 2. There was a break at around 4:40, 4:45, where I then had to drive to the location, and then we started at whatever time. But I didn't stop all day. I woke up to take my kids to school at 8 a.m. and like came home, cleaned my house, like did a bunch of stuff. So I didn't stop all day. The next day, exhausted. I slept. I was so grateful someone took my son for a sleepover so that he didn't have to be drug around with me to the photo shoot. And that was just I think it took me 2 days to recover from that. My hip is still like out of place from it. I don't even know how, but it is. And so that took me that time to like get through that. And that was a big struggle while bringing on new clients and managing my existing clients and then life in general. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And then life in general, just like the comment. My challenge this week is my 2-year-old. LOL, he's into everything. I spent 2 weeks with my grandchildren. I didn't realize how messy they were. Like they create a big mess all the time. It's constant. It's absolutely constant from the minute they wake up to the minute they go to bed. And then you clean it all up and you're like so hopeful, and then they wake up again. And it's just shocking. I had forgotten, like I really had forgotten. And then their different personalities and the conundrums that they create in your life. Like every time I go down, I'm looking forward to this time of connection. And I really did experience that. I was home with my one granddaughter while she was sick, and it was beautiful because I used the portal to make her feel better. We went for a walk, and then we went down to the ferry gate and we sprinkled berries all over and played. It was wonderful. But her older sister is 4, and she's going through a challenge every day. Bedtime is there's no joy. Like none. She just screams. And I feel so bad for her. She's having such a challenge. And all I could do was stay in my own lane, mind my own business, and accept the fact that her parents are spectacular.
I'm
My
doing the
son
best I
is an
can.
amazing father. Oh my God, he's such a good dad. And his wife, she's a nurse, so she works split shifts. So sometimes she'll come home at 7 a.m. and then try to get some sleep during the day. It's such a challenge. But we made it through every single day, even the challenging ones. It was great. I have great memories.
That's awesome.
Great memories. And I think that's what life is about, creating memories. And the more that we can get rid of the baggage, the better our chance at creating great things. Yeah, because that baggage will wear you down. I mean, I'm sure you don't have that on your dating profile. Hey, Lauralee.
My baggage, no.
Hi,
No,
I'm Lauralee,
that
and I come with a lot of baggage, right? Like, who wants that?
would be a giant red flag right there, probably for most people. Run. But you know what though, people if you're smart enough to, or if you've gone through stuff and you know people or psychology and stuff like that, there's certain things you're gonna know, like, oh, that's baggage, like certain things people say. So in their profiles, and it's kind of shocking to read sometimes. So it's like, okay, I'm just gonna not
Swipe right.
respond. Yeah.
Well, right?
So it's like
It is.
Oh, it's left. Okay, sorry.
It's so intriguing and interesting to see the personality profiles of people. You know, you've got your big muscle bound guys. Ooh. And I'm like, pretty to look at, but who's your priority? And I know it's important to have self-love and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know, you know, and then I remember when I met Ralph, ugh, I did not choose him. I thought that he was in the army because he was bald. And he had traveling pictures all over his profile. And then I went to a girlfriend's house and was having a glass of wine, and she liked his pictures, and he thought it was me. So he sent me a message, and I went on a date. Interesting.
Now, how many years ago was that?
It'll be 10 in January. Yeah,
amazing.
My parents met on a
it
blind
is.
date.
Wow. Yeah. Pretty incredible.
Life is
Pretty
truly
incredible. And
amazing.
you know, it really is. And there's relationships that will sustain you, and then there's relationships that will strain you. If you have straining relationships, stop. Imagine saying to someone that strains you, you know what? You're straining me, and I need a timeout from you. So for the next 30 days, please don't contact me.
I think that's brilliant.
And imagine it being accepted and not, that's a problem, a big problem in society, if people feel so offended by that. And it's like, no, I just need a break, and that's okay. I don't personally subscribe to instant responding, even to my clients. I you guys both know that. I don't, when you message me, I don't always respond the second you guys message me. Sometimes it's a day later, and it's not because of being rude. It's because
You're busy.
busy life, time away, like for myself, time management, and it's what you just said is often not received very well by people. People get very offended, and there's no reason for that.
I think we need to make this a new norm. If there's somebody in our life that's straining us, you know what? You're straining me. I need to put myself in a timeout for 30 days. Please don't contact me. Because you're not no okay, so but we're saying you. So how could we say it so that it's not
I feel strained,
I
and
feel strained. Yeah.
I feel my energy being drained. I'm going to take a break, whatever it is.
There you go.
That's a nice way to put it too, because then it takes the sting out because it's not you. There's no finger pointing. It's me because it is always me. It's never the other person.
Yeah.
It's never the other person. It's always me and my response to what's happening from the person. And again, the unfinished business. What is it that we have yet to work our way through, right? And sometimes it's one relationships that's just instant gratification. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm nobody's beck and call girl.
Mm-hmm.
Never. You want a beck and call girl? There's sites for that.
Yeah. I
And
actually,
I'm not on OnlyFans.
I actually this week had not quite the same situation, but someone this week or maybe the weekend. It was the weekend, last weekend. Um, but someone decided that they could not be in any sort of relationship or date or whatever, and that's fine. And I accepted that, and we that took our way, went our way, and he then said he wanted to be friends, and I already said I won't be your friend. And he called me and he wanted to be friends, and he was here and he wanted to see me, and I was like, no, you don't. Well, I wavered. I was like, maybe, and then I was like, no. I actually heard spirit very clearly say no. And I said, you don't get to have my energy and give me the bare minimum because you're afraid. And go heal yourself. And then if you decide you want to date, give me a call one day. But other than that, no.
Good for
So,
you.
yeah.
Good job.
And Daphne, you know me very well. You know I don't do that. I am friends with almost all my exes. So that's not something that I put out there very much. I do keep people around. But this was different. It's like, no.
I'm glad you listened. And I'm so proud
Yeah.
of you for being no. See, and you've
It's a
inspired
beautiful space.
me, Nancy, and so have you, Lorelei.
Sorry, you both talked at the same time. Nancy, what did you say?
It's a beautiful space when you can find within your own heart the ability to forgive yourself for whatever it was in your life that caused you pain, whether that is a person or a relationship with that person. That's something that I've been working on a lot these last 30 days. And it's interesting because it takes the ability of writing in memoir from a place of very dark shadow writing, because I wrote about a lot of really shadow experiences in my life, to one of, okay, how can I take this shitty part of my truth, my story?
Mm-hmm.
What have I learned from that?
Yep.
Wow.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
It's all about perspective, right?
absolutely.
And finishing the unfinished, like wrapping it back around, finishing the unfinished business when we can see things from the other side. How amazing
Yeah,
is that?
super amazing.
That's epic.
And on that note, no doubt. And on that note, I am going to say I love you and farewell. Oh my gosh, I sound like that. One of my favorite Christmas movies is The Sound of Music.
Mhm.
Do you remember the song? You know, dun, 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 Auf Wiedersehen, good night. No? Do, 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 do. No. Oh my gosh. Sound of Music.
Maybe
I
we'll
love
get
watching it.
music for the next one then, so you can play it at the end.
Yeah, right. I'll have the music uploaded. Oh my gosh. Christmas is coming. So is winter. Christmas sounds a little bit more special.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Laura Lee, for helping us do this again.
Yeah, thank you for having me
Yes.
again.
You
Loved
are
it.
so welcome.
What do you have
It's been
coming
a
up, Laura
joy.
Lee?
So, yeah.
Well, I'm starting my visual podcast here soon. I was supposed to start it already. I haven't yet, but
It's coming.
um, it's coming. It's coming. I'm definitely starting it before December. That's uh, an absolute must. So that's happening. And I was just brought on to a TikTok live agency, so I'll be going live like a ton. I have to do it like a part-time job, but I don't get paid. Well, hopefully I'll get paid by TikTok, but um, so I'm trying to sort that all out and start going live and doing this stuff more. So my face will get there more. So that's some of the biggest stuff that I have, other than photo shoots and stuff. So
Neat. Oh,
Nancy
that sounds like
says,
fun.
and Laura Lee,
Yeah.
and
It's a great word. What about you, Daph? What do you got coming up?
oh my goodness, what do I have got coming up? Well, this actually, you know what? This week is my self-care week. I am, because I've worked so hard last week, I'm taking this week to do things for me, like massages and acupuncture, and just take care of me this week. That's what I'm doing. What about
Good
you?
job. I put self-care in my week every week. I schedule something every single week. It's my sanity check. Truly, truly important for me. Without that, I really struggle. Buying a stove, our stove is not operating at its optimal, but Black Friday sale, so we'll see what comes.
There you go.
We'll see what comes. Yeah,
Beautiful.
trusting that the perfect stove will show up at the perfect time.
Beautiful. At the perfect price.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Peace out. Love you to the moon and back.
Love you too.
Bye. There we go. That takes a bit for that end stream to
It says
kick
no,
in.
it says it's still live for me. It says it's still live for me.
Oh, let's try again. Take two.